For Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, it's the Serenno Squadcast, the official podcast of the Serenno Squad. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this. Thanks, Paul or Wayne. What'd you say?
Nothing. I just wanted to interrupt your flow.
Perfect. You did a great job. Well, thanks guys for coming. We've got today Paul. Say hello.
Hello. That's right. There's an audio portion too. It's not just video.
Yeah, you can wave all you want. We've got Wayne.
Good night, Gracie.
And we got Evan.
Hey there.
Okay. Yeah. Wrong podcast again. Every time.
Excuse me. That's the wrong franchise.
Yeah, we don't allow your kind here.
Sorry.
So, starting off with some Legion update. Same old.
There are none.
There were none. You just sent out 2 more months worth of cancellations.
Oh yeah, I had to send out the super awkward. I haven't heard from you. I'm assuming your event's canceled, but just in case, we're not going to be there.
What events are you talking about specifically?
I had to cancel 2 library events, and there was a kids' health and fitness. I wasn't quite sure what that one was about. The events had already been canceled. They just forgot to contact us. So
yeah, there's a lot going on. So
a lot of nothing going on.
What about Celebration? Talks about Celebration being canceled, or is that still on?
There's just talk so far.
I'd say it's a 90% chance it's going to get postponed, rescheduled, or turned into some kind of online event. Because Comic-Con got canceled, last week?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they said, sorry, we'll see you in 2021. So I'd heard rumor that DragonCon was canceling, but I couldn't find it before we started the call.
What kind of online experience are you talking about?
I have no idea. But
it's never been done.
The past celebrations, they've streamed almost all the panels online, which is actually really cool for people who couldn't attend. So you could sit on your couch and be like, you're there. And they did live shows from the whole weekend and everything. So I don't know if they would do something, some kind of Zoom all the panels. I don't know. I don't know what they would do, but
it's not a bad idea.
I'm sure Repop's trying to figure out something to not have to pay 60,000 people refunds.
Yeah.
What do you think, Wayne?
I think that if my ticket gets turned into that, you may see me use what money I do have to buy a tank. Because I don't go to that for the panels. And I understand that there are people that do. And if they want to enjoy that, that's fine. I didn't buy my tickets for panels. And I do not want to sit through, online panels.
How far in advance did you get these tickets?
They went on sale last year. It was like late last summer. It was about a year out from the event.
Yeah, it was like late August, early September.
Dang.
Yeah, and it sold out like that weekend, I think.
Yeah.
And we had to play the Hunger Games roulette for getting a hotel room.
Yeah, that's why I never even bothered, which now I'm glad I didn't.
Well, the hotels haven't charged. They don't charge. They charge you usually sometime around 30 days in advance. They'll charge you 1 month or 1 night. And then you pay when you check in or check out, depending on the hotel. So if the event is canceled, then it's pretty easy to cancel reservations. This is Rex, by the way. He came by to say hi.
Well, Rex.
Hi, Rex.
We saw Cody last time.
Yes.
Commander Rex.
No, it's Captain.
Captain Rex, Commander Cody.
Not Commander?
Well, I guess he is technically Commander Rex now. Yeah, I guess
He is right now, yes.
As of Friday, he got promoted.
Did they call him Captain in the Rebels series?
I don't
We
know if
didn't
they
see
ever...
him.
No,
I think they just called him Rex.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever... I think they just called him Rex. I don't know if they ever called him Captain.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I started watching more Rebels again. I thought I was further along than I was, but I was right at the end of season 2. I hadn't even gotten to the finale of season 2, which was incredible.
That's the best one.
I know, it was so great. Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm now
season 2 ending that's an epic episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a best among all of Star Wars. Period.
I had to stop in the middle of it and restart it because I didn't realize what I was watching. I was like, "Whoa!" It was good though, and now I'm hooked back on it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're calling him Rex. But
Yeah.
Not that it matters. You call your cat whatever you want to call your cat.
Well, we didn't give our cats ranks. They're just Rex and Cody.
There you go. Fair enough.
Oh,
And then you have Chewbacca.
Yes.
Oh, is his full name Chewbacca? Or I thought he was just
Yep.
Chewie.
It's Chewbacca Bubba Shrance, because his name before we got him was Bubba, and we were like, no,
Chewbacca Bubba. And Wayne, where's your feline friend or your dog?
Back in my room, in a box.
in a kennel?
No.
Okay.
In a can.
Oh.
I can go get it if you really, really, really want to see it.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Don't ask if you don't want to.
All right. Moving on. Unless anybody wants to add anything to Legion update or
when there is
anything.
some, we'll give it to you.
Sounds good.
There's something to report.
Nothing.
Yes.
So I've got some channel news, just some ideas for the YouTube channel. Talk to you guys about like CRL videos, where we could have all of our squad members just basically like show off a suit up of their costume and show off their helmets and work that they done, all their props and stuff like that. And it's basically, it's not like official, but it's kind of like, if you were just looking for what people have done to get, approved, you could check out the video for whatever character you're looking for and have some kind of reference that is a lot closer than probably what any other guy is going to have. That, and then kits, blasters, stuff like that, anything that we can think of. So that's something to look forward to.
I'm for that, as long as we let people know that just because this works for me doesn't necessarily mean it would work for you, and you might actually find a better way to make it work for you. So don't take it as law.
Yeah, and you could run into like you do something one way for us, and then someone else tries that same way, and their GML says nope, don't like that. So like if you tried to get squirrely with your cover strips on your Stormtrooper, some GMLs are like, whatever works, and then some GMLs are like, no, it has to be 7/8 of an inch.
We need disclaimers.
In
the UK, they will actually, you have to have your costume approved in person. They'll like bring out the tape measure and measure it.
Wow.
Yeah, the UK garrison is a little hardcore.
Yeah, it's because they have, from what I understand, the UK garrison has a ton of competition in their country with a bunch of other Star Wars costuming groups that are not 501st. So the 501st ends up being like the premier, and then the other groups are like lesser tiers, I guess. Like if you don't want to go so hardcore.
Yeah, a lot of the filming took place in Europe, didn't it? In the
UK,
original films.
What was it? Is it Pinewood Studios or something where they filmed?
Pinewood Studios, Leavesden, I think is how you say it. Studios, yeah. A lot of it was
I wonder if
filmed up in London.
I wonder if that has anything to do with how strict they are, because maybe a lot of the props and costumes, they might have actually come from the UK for the movie.
I mean, they do have people, some sellers there that use screen used, either screen derived or screen used costumes. So like RS Prop Masters, I believe, has some molds that are derived directly from either they are using molds that were used in the movies, or they're using like molds that were made from costumes that were in the movies.
Yeah, I know RS Prop Masters, they have several things that are either directly from the original, like they have the original prop and they've cast off of it, or they have like first or second generation molds. So I mean, they're like 1 or 2 steps removed from what was on set.
I want to say that their biker scout is the molds from Return of the Jedi, or like at least their first, because those molds are typically updated. At least the first molds that they have are, I don't know if it's RS Prop Masters, but it's one of the sellers in the UK has actual screen used molds.
Yeah. Which, yeah, if you want the best of the best for, at least for Stormtroopers, I'm assuming for everything else, I know they offer Biker Scouts, TIE Pilots. Beyond that, I'd have to look and see. But their stuff is generally like best of the best.
Do they do a Snowtrooper?
I think they're working on one if they don't have one already. I think anything from the original trilogy, if they don't have it already, they're probably working on it.
Right.
And you're going to pay for it too. It's not cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I just ordered some updates to my TIE Pilot. The chest box buttons, I got new ones on order. So I'm going to see if I can find a way to film those or take lots and lots of pretty pictures of me trying not to slice my fingers off as I cut off the old ones and put the new ones on.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yes, not slicing my fingers off is a good idea.
Guarantee you we get the views though.
Paul loses his finger. Yeah, I would get some views.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's just the flesh wound.
How often do you really use your left hand?
Every day.
Not like I have hobbies that take both hands. No, not at all.
No, that's just decoration. Yeah, so CRL videos sounds like something we might do.
Could be really helpful because I know one of the first times I got into like the costuming, we'd made some Jedi robes, and we went to a con and saw a panel, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can put snaps here and all this kind of stuff." And I was like, "You can do that?" We didn't quite understand, like, oh, just because you don't see it doesn't mean you have to like, treat it as all in universe. It doesn't have to be like, well, if this was an actual robe, they would have these kind of clips. So, no.
Yeah, so there are some secrets we can share that will, and then I think, like you guys said, everybody's going to have their own way of going about doing stuff, their own opinions. So people are going to have different techniques and some better problem solving than others. So you can have your pick of the litter, and maybe we'll go over, like if we have somebody in a TK kit done a little bit different than someone else's, we can have both and show the differences, and whatever it got you guys approved. We don't have, like Wayne said, we don't have to, or we probably should disclaim that none of this is guaranteed to get you, approved, but
Yep.
it's what got us approved, and that it's gonna, be close. And, just like all of us, if something ain't right, they're gonna let us know, and you just tweak it until you get it right. So I thought that could be helpful. And then also just a cool way that everybody on, in the squad can kind of show off their stuff and kind of be a part of the Squadcast. And then also I've got an idea for, which I've had for a while, just 3D print projects where we can record like a time lapse of a print, and then the, how we found the file, where we find them, what type of programs you use to edit it, show the actual printing process, and then afterwards how we finish it and weather it and get it ready to go. I think it'll be a helpful video thing. So that's basically it for our channel news. Next up, we got top story, which I kind of picked up. Clone Wars, the new episode.
There's a new episode? I hadn't heard about that.
Old Friends Not Forgotten.
Yes.
We've all been waiting.
Quite possibly the best episode of the series so far. Like, all 7 seasons, that might be the best episode we've seen.
A lot of fan service.
I could see that.
It had jetpacks.
Yes.
Had Mandalorians all over the place.
I mean, anything with the Mandalorians is a winner. Let's be honest.
We got new Mandalorians, too. There's brand new Mandalorian armor in that episode.
Yep. There's a bunch.
That's like Maul's Mandalorians, right? The red armor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or loyal to Maul after his takeover of Mandalore.
Yeah. Which, if anyone is confused as to... I don't remember if we touched on this last time or not. What happened between the end of season 5 and where we are now? There's the Darth Maul Son of Dathomir comic, which if you currently, as of like 2 days ago, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you might be able to find it for free and read it online.
Cool.
Through a Kindle app. Look on Amazon, look on Comixology. If you have a local comic store that's open, see if they can ship it to you or do curbside. Yeah. I need to refresh myself on that comic.
And that's in between where would that be in relation to the Clone Wars episode?
It's based on a script for episodes that were written. It would have taken place between the end of episode 5, where we see the first attack on Mandalore, where Maul takes over, and then Obi-Wan shows up and tries to fight him, and then Palpatine shows up and just kills everybody. And then where we are now with the new episodes. It would kind of flesh out what happened to Maul and the Mandalorians a little bit in that time frame.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was very awesome. Lots of action. You get to see like Anakin in his prime. And that's probably is it days or hours before Order 66? When is this taking place?
We're at the beginning of the most recent episode. We're about 4 to 5 days, depending on how you count the days in episode 3.
Gotcha.
So
because
Order 66.
You see Ayla Secura, she's on Felucia, and you see the other guy.
Yeah, where they're putting all the Jedi in the spot where you know they're going to get killed. It's like, oh.
Right.
Oh.
So they're in their final missions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just twist the knife a little harder, why don't you? Yeah.
What do you think, Wayne?
I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd say it was the best one of the entire series, but
Wayne really likes Zero the Hutt.
You're alive.
He loves Zero the Hutt. He loves the Jedi younglings, the 4-part droid stories.
Oh God, no. 4-part story. With the commander that can't learn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping. Well, we've got 3 episodes left. So before Clone Wars ends for the 3rd time.
I wish they would take the animation style that they have truly perfected the animation in that show with this last season, and I really wish that they would do another show. I don't care what they do, but just something that uses that animation, because it is so good to look at and it's so crisp. Like when those lightsabers ignite, like something about this last episode, everything felt so like just incredibly good to look at. I loved it.
I agree. Yeah. I felt like this, even the last, this past episode, it looked so much cleaner than the rest of them. Like more detail, but
yeah,
it's, I mean, still the rest of it is good, but I felt like there was just so much more going on, so much more special effects. It was awesome.
There were scenes that were almost completely indistinguishable from what you would see in Revenge of the Sith. Like the, I can't remember if you see the fleet over Coruscant or not, but I think when the fleet shows up, the Republic fleet shows up over Mandalore, that could have come straight out of a movie.
Yeah, because the animation and the live action side, they're basically using the same models now. It's just the animations are way less detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when the ghost showed up in Rogue One, you know, it was the same model. It's just the live action one put a ton more detail on it.
Yeah. And you see it for what, like 3.5 frames?
It's all throughout the battle.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I know in Rise of Skywalker, they created a ton of ship models from like the old everything, and then they ended up for like a few frames. And I was like, somebody talked about how much work they did on these ships, and they were barely even seen. Kind of a bummer.
Yeah, they did what, 18,000 ships in one shot, something like that. It's pretty much any ship that has ever shown up in Star Wars. If ILM had a model of it, they threw it in the shot.
It was a great shot.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We had more of it.
Well, I guess that wasn't the top story I thought it would be, but it was a great episode.
Well,
yes,
I think it's hard to talk about it right now because it's truly the first out of 4 parts, and from what it felt like, it really felt like the 4 parts of these last 4 episodes, they are meant to be watched essentially like a movie. Like that's how they kind of flowed into each other.
Right. Even the beginning with the Lucasfilm title, that was totally different. That was way more theatrical. It was pretty cool. I don't know what that was. I don't think I've ever even seen
VHS
that.
One.
Is that what it was?
That was the original Lucasfilm logo from the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I kind of like. The old nerd in me appreciated it, but I'm like, how many people really got what they were doing there?
Yeah, I did not.
So,
it was fresh and different, so I liked it.
I knew exactly what was going on, and it still made me question it. The fact that, like, I saw that thing come up, and I double-checked and was like, did I start the right thing?
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. I was like, I may have clicked the wrong movie.
And
it was exciting.
And they changed the opening theme. It was the John Williams theme, or at least
the actual theatrical music.
Yep.
Still not sure how I feel about that. I mean, we've been through 7 seasons of this other. A lot of work went into that, only to have it just now here at the finale. Be like, yeah, we're not going to use that.
I thought it was exciting. I thought it was good.
It was like in Star Trek Enterprise when they got rid of the lyrics.
They never got rid of the lyrics.
I thought there was a few episodes where they got rid of the lyrics to the.
The only ones they did is with the Mirror Universe episodes.
Yeah.
They changed the opening there.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, we're now diverting into a Star Trek podcast. Sorry, Gunnar.
It's okay. Hey, I like Star Trek just like anybody
You can't even
else.
say it.
Yeah, you're like Heather's uncle who says Star Trek.
Star Trek.
It's tough.
It looks teeny tiny and shiny and black and silver.
Wow.
It's like the size of a postage stamp on my screen, so I can see what you're holding. That's it.
Excellent work.
I trust your work on it, Wayne.
Thank you. Oh, that was mine. Yours I had to, it's sitting outside drying.
Okay.
I tried to paint a screw and it bled over a little bit, so I sprayed it over and I'm going to just do the whole thing again.
Okay.
Ooh. I painted the thighs of my clone yellow with the brown strip.
Yay.
Looks so cool. So exciting.
Nice.
I kind of screwed up my chest piece though. I got a little too excited. I'd only let the white paint dry for like maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours or something like that. And I put tape on it to paint the lines, pulled the tape off, and the tape where I just from where I pushed it, I basically created a line where my tape was. It's like, it looks so bad. So I had to go back over it and touch it up. And then once I weather it, you won't even be able to tell. But it was.
How thick are you putting it on there?
How thick am I? What, the white or the?
Like how many coats?
Enough to where it's solid, because I have black underneath. I mean, I make it so that it's.
Oh yeah, then you're going to need
solid.
at least 24 hours for it to dry before you put any kind of tape on it.
Yep. And the thighs, I painted them yesterday, and I let them dry. And then this afternoon, I went out.
Does anybody ever pay attention to the can? No. But technically, if you look on the can, after you spray it, it literally tells you to wait 7 days.
I was gonna say, technically,
7 days.
If you want to do like the best possible paint job, 7 days.
Yep.
Because it doesn't only have to dry; it has to cure.
Right. That's like if you don't want fingerprints, you don't want dust, you don't want any of that kind of stuff. You want like a perfect.
Yeah, it's killing me to not mess with that chest piece, but I'm leaving it for the full 7 days because I did a trick of put on the black, and just as it's starting to get tacky, like maybe 30 minutes in, throw the clear coat on it, and the two bond together at that point. So now I'm waiting for the paint to cure and the clear coat and together. So I'm not touching it for 7 days.
Yeah.
So you won't get a handprint like you got on your tie helmet that time.
Oh no.
Yeah, I put that way too thick on there.
Yeah. Thin coats, but still, it's
or worse when I turned it upside down and it actually took the shape of the seat, the cloth that was sitting in.
Yeah, I had the texture
on the top, but it was enough underneath that it was still mushy. And so I had to take a washcloth and keep wiping it to get that design out of it and get it smoothed back down again.
Yes. There are many, 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 many coats of paint on Wayne's armor.
Yes.
It's what it takes.
I think that mine is heavier than other people's.
Pure paint.
Paint. The plastic went away a long time ago.
Whereas I'm lazy and I avoid painting at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul was like, "Why are you doing this? It's already black." I said, "Yeah, but it's not shiny black."
It's shiny enough.
Yeah.
If you're shiny, you haven't done any real work.
Fine, I'll just start carrying a clipboard everywhere I go then. What's that guy doing? He's busy. Leave him alone.
All right. Moving on to the next segment. Comic Talk. This is a new one where we got some
And before we get too far away from it, do you see that?
I see a little tiny thingy.
Yep.
Am I looking through it?
No, these are the lenses I made for the scopes, the E11s.
Oh.
I'm putting scope ends on it, so they'll be shiny and black. And so
Are they transparent or just shiny and black?
No, they're black because the scope's full, like it's just one piece. So it'll just look like it's dark inside because I did it flat black on the inside. Then I put it on the outside. It'll catch the light, so it'll look like glass.
Gotcha. Cool. Nice. Very neat. Very neat. Yeah. Comics. You were just talking about the son of Dathomir.
Son of Dathomir.
Dathomir. That's a good place to start if you're trying to, I guess, keep up with the Clone Wars, or is that after the Clone Wars? Should you wait for it?
It's during the Clone Wars. It's based on scripts for the show that never got produced after it got canceled the first time.
Yeah.
That one's a good one if you want to know, if you're like, I really like the new episodes, I really like what's going on, I want to know more. That's a good one. It fills in a little bit of story gaps. It lets you know what happened to Mother Talzin from the Night Sisters. There's Palpatine, there's Grievous, there's Dooku. Good stuff there. Right now, actually, is a really good time if anyone was interested in starting any of the Star Wars comics, because one, all of the Star Wars lines just reset.
What does that mean?
Up to this, well, comics, especially Marvel, every few months, years, they like to kind of reset and give you a new number one, which is usually kind of a good jumping on point for new readers.
Yeah.
They just, most of the Star Wars comics were after A New Hope leading into Empire. So they did a kind of, all the Star Wars comics were pushing towards Empire Strikes Back and leading the Rebels to Hoth and everything that's going to happen there. And what has happened now is they've all restarted with a new number one because Marvel. Yeah, then that's an hour-long discussion on another podcast. So right now, all of them are just a few issues in. You could easily pick up a number one and start a brand new story that picks up right at the end of Empire Strikes Back. The main title is just called Star Wars. It's 3 or 4 issues in. It picks up literally right at the end of Empire Strikes Back. I think the first issue even, it picks up with with Han and Vader fighting on Bespin. With Luke and Vader fighting on Bespin and Luke losing his hand. That's like right where the first issue starts. And it goes into the whole thing of like what Luke's dealing with and that kind of stuff. There's a new Darth Vader comic because we always have to have a Darth Vader comic. It's dealing with it. They're all set at this time frame. Vader's actually, it's only like 2 or 3 issues in, and it actually is a really interesting start. The first issue, he thinks Padme might be alive. So it's kind of an interesting, what? Yeah, so I'll just, the story goes off in its own direction, and I'll leave that there. What else is going on? There's Dr. Aphra. She's a brand new character to the Marvel Comics.
Yeah, she was introduced in the Vader comic.
She was introduced in the first Vader comic 40 issues ago.
Yeah.
She's like a Star Wars version of Indiana Jones, but without the kind of good parts. She's not bad, but she's not really good either. She's kind of like, if it
she's
suits
a scoundrel.
Me, yeah, she's like, if it suits me to be with the good guys, I'm going to be a good guy. But as soon as it suits me to be a bad guy, I'm shooting you all in the back.
No, that's more like Hondo.
Kind of, yeah. She's a lot of fun. I really like her books. Yeah. Those are the 3 big ones: Star Wars, Vader, Dr. Aphra. There's a couple others, but those are the big ones. If you're going to read any, read one of those 3.
And you were talking about these comics leading up to, like you said, the Battle at Hoth and all that stuff. What do you mean by these comics? How long have there been Star Wars comics, coming out with stories?
1977.
Well,
the current
so since the beginning.
The current comics are under Marvel. They started in 2014, 2015, sometime around. It was after after Disney bought them. Dark Horse Comics had the Star Wars license before that, and then
I remember Dark Horse whenever I was growing up. I remember reading those.
Yeah. Disney's like, we own a comic book company, so we're just going to print them over here now. But yeah, they've all been pretty good. I have issues with some of the Star Wars comics because they had an artist I really hate his work, because he flat out traces stills from the movies. It looks like a trace.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. They're all really good. I mean, it's pretty strong across the board. The best ones, because it's Marvel, and the Darth Vader comics written by Charles Soule, Soule.
Yep.
Those are really, really good. He got into a lot of the weird Force stuff, and kind of a lot of it was based around Vader right after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Like, he literally picks up right after the no. And
Classic.
it's how did Vader get his lightsaber? That's a whole story there.
Cool.
The start of the Inquisitors, a battle on Mon Calamari, which actually was kind of cool because in the Vader comics, you had the battle, the early Empire, like just days, weeks, months after Episode 3, invading Mon Calamari. And then in the main Star Wars comic, which was taking place after A New Hope, you had the rebels coming in trying to liberate Mon Calamari. So you had these two stories running simultaneously. It was kind of cool to see the before and after, and like that was kind of neat.
Nice.
But yeah, if you're gonna read any, Dr. Aphra is a lot of fun. Darth Vader by Charles Soule is really good because he gets into like what was Vader doing on Mustafar. Lots of weird Force stuff. The last issue, I think it's in the last issue, you get a lot of like Vader gets these crazy visions in the Force, and people were taking some things a little too literally.
Yeah.
Because he has visions, and he retells like important moments in Anakin's life, important moments in Vader's life, and some people don't take anything in the Force literally, and people were taking it literally as them saying like certain things are canon, certain things are not.
Yeah.
So it was more like a dream state kind of thing?
Yes. You're seeing things from Anakin/Vader's point of view. How does he think of it? Not necessarily this is the written, so let it be written, so let it be done, gospel truth of what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those ones are really good. Those are the only comics that I personally own of the new run, just because they were kind of a self-contained story, and anything like around the time of the Clone Wars and just after is just pure fun for me.
Everything that Dark Horse printed prior to Marvel taking over is fallen under the Legends banner of the old expanded
the
universe.
novels.
Like, yeah, like these are still good stories. They don't necessarily count for canon anymore. Marvel has reprinted a bunch of those, so almost everything is available. If you want just a really good story and you don't really care if like this has to be 100% canon, there is a miniseries. It's like 6 issues. It's probably in a trade, called Darth Vader in the Ghost Prison. It's really, really good. It's like one of my favorite stories of Darth.
I'm sorry, it was breaking up. Did you say Darth Vader, let's go to prison?
No, Darth Vader and the Ghost Prison.
Okay. That's way better, because I'm thinking that was a not so great movie and involving Vader.
Yeah, it was definitely starring Kurt Russell, probably in 1987.
Yeah, it's written by Hayden Blackman, who is the guy who wrote the Force Unleashed, the game. He was the head writer on the game. And if he's written a Star Wars story, it's really good, and I highly recommend it. But yeah, this was a really good one as Vader goes into this like hidden prison and things happen. Yeah, it's a really good story.
Well,
now, are there any like
just so you know, you're getting the brass scope.
Okay.
Well, because that's the way the scopes were. They were brass, and so when it sheared off of there, you saw the brass underneath, not the silver. So
yeah.
Are all these just the smaller comics, or are these bigger, like complete series, like stories, like almost like novels?
They're like story arcs as far as the comics go. You'll start one and it'll go for like 3 or 4 issues. It'll wrap up and lead into the next. So
Yeah.
it's just like watching the Clone Wars show. There's like 3 episodes and they're all dealing with okay, this is happening here. And then that wraps up, and you might reference that one again, but it started this new one.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Most of the stuff should now be collected in trades from the previous, and it'll say like Star Wars Battle over Mon Calamari or something like that. It'll be like
it'll have
issues,
a title.
Yeah,
across
it'll be
the top.
issues 20 through 25, but it's essentially a self-contained story. Which, unfortunately, there are no new comics being shipped out to stores at this time.
Yeah.
So, actually, like I said, if you want, this is a good time to start getting into comics, because like I said, the new stuff is only 3 or 4 or 5 issues in. You can get it caught up really easily. Lots of trades are available. They're easy to find on Amazon. Support your local comic book store as best you can. Comixology does digital comics. There's tons of ways to get them.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's like keeping up with your shows or your podcasts or whatever. You're constantly getting new stuff up to date. So if you start at the beginning of a series like this, you can kind of read each comic just along with everybody else and kind of figure things out. So I think I'm gonna have to look into it and see what we can get at the comic book store. You guys,
if you
get
were
everything from there.
I recommend going trade paperback on it, because that's going to collect 5 or 6. It's going to collect at least 1 to 2 story arcs and be way cheaper.
If you're trying to get caught back up, like if you want to read the past stories, that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Is you get anywhere between 3 and 5 comics all gathered together. Like I said, it's almost always this is the beginning, middle, and end of a story, or it's a main chunk of the story, because especially with the Star Wars line, the way Marvel kind of does it, DC and the other companies generally do that same thing, is your story arcs are 3 to 5 issues. You get, hey, there's a problem here. Hero has to solve it. The end. I mean, and then something else happens and it carries you forward. Is it making sense at all? I feel like it's not making sense.
No, it's making sense. It makes total sense. Yeah, no. Sorry, I'm just checking out the time, seeing how much time we've got here. But no, yeah, no. I'm definitely gonna check into it for sure. Go ahead.
Hopefully, the virus nonsense will pass quickly, and distribution will start again at comic book stores.
That's what I was gonna ask. I couldn't remember what I was about to ask you. When was the last time that the last what do you want to call it? The last issue was released.
It would have been the end of March, because
right there.
Just recently.
Long. I'll condense it down real fast. All comics come through one distributor called Diamond Distribution. Anything you go to a comic book store to buy, it came from Diamond. So if Diamond says we're not shipping any books, they're not getting anything. They're just standing there. Sorry, got nothing. They said due to the virus and everything that's going on, they're not shipping anything from April. And I think they said they might restart in May. So support your local comic book store.
Right. And how often do they release issues?
Once a week.
Once a week. Holy cow.
Wednesday is New Comic Book Day.
Yeah. Wednesdays, books are released. Now, it's not necessarily saying you get a Star Wars comic every single week.
Yeah, you get new comics every week, but each comic story mostly is either monthly or bi-monthly.
Is this a membership you guys have? Or
well, you just sign up for, okay, I'm interested in getting these books, and these books. And then when they come in, they just hold them for you. You go in, you pick them up.
Gotcha. So that not everybody drops an issue on the same day.
No.
You'll have something to look forward to from different people. Gotcha.
Right. I could get She-Hulk this week, Star Wars next week, Spider-Man the week after.
Yeah. So if you're interested at all and you want to get books on the regulars, you go into your local comic book shop and depending on where you live. Sometimes they call it a pull list. Sometimes they call it a box. It's regional things. You just basically tell them, like, look, if you order Star Wars, Batman, Spider-Man, and Daredevil, I will come in every week and I will buy those. Sometimes they give you a discount if you pre-order, like you actually pay for it in advance. Yeah, you just go in and you tell them, like, hey, you pull these for me, I will come buy them from you. Otherwise, you run the risk of going in just on the week and see what they have on the shelf. If like a big thing happened, like, oh my God, Padme's alive. Yeah, that book's going to sell out and you're not going to be able to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
cool. Well, I was gonna bring up some virtual reality. I think we can talk about it real quick. Evan, you've been playing a lot of, I get what was it? Blade and Sorcery.
Yeah, Blade and Sorcery is a VR game. It's primarily just like a medieval combat game, but the developer released the SDK, which is what do they call it? Like the something development kit. So anyway, but as soon as a developer launches their SDK for their game, then modders can take it and then just curse the heck out of it. So like there was the mods for this game are off the charts. When I was a kid, I got really into modding Halo PC, and I got into Half-Life 2 modding when I was a kid. And so this is kind of like going back to when I was 13, so it's kind of fun. There was not just like Star Wars mods for this game are probably the biggest, but there's all sorts of mods. Like there was a mod where you can get a giant butter knife and cut people up with it. You can get guns and all sorts of things. But the Star Wars mods are insanely popular because you take a medieval combat VR game and you throw in every single lightsaber, and I mean every lightsaber, and it's like they're like every color combination you can imagine. Like you can have like a pink lightsaber in one hand and a green lightsaber with a black core, and you can have the helicopter blade from Rebels, and you can have Rey's folding and unfolding lightsaber, and it's absolute insanity. So I downloaded that and downloaded just an absolute absurd amount of mods for it. So I have lightsabers, blasters, dual clone pistols, which is the most fun because one of the cool things about this game is you can slow down time. So I'll slow down time and just kind of do this here when I'm shooting people on either side of me. So it's not just lightsabers. The blasters are a lot of fun. After this quarantine is over, I want everyone to come over and play this game because it's like so amazing for a Star Wars fan. And I got a mod where there's just like regular stormtroopers in there as well, and somehow they are very easy to delimb. So as soon as you touch them just in just the right place with your lightsaber, a limb will just come off, and they're like yelling at you, and they're screaming, and it's just so much fun. And you have some Jedi powers. You can jump really high, and you can like force throw people. So I was on this
so you've got
map
force powers and stuff.
Yeah, there's you have lightning. The lightning isn't super effective, but the force push where I was like just throwing people off of cliffs and stuff. I mean, it's so much mayhem. It's ridiculous. And I played it so much this weekend. I woke up on Monday and I was sore all through my top of my shoulders because from just swinging these handsets. It's ridiculous. So, but so that's not technically a Star Wars game, but there's a ton of Star Wars content in it that you can download. So Blade and Sorcery is, I think it was $20 or $30 on the Steam, on Steam. The base game is already amazing, but the Star Wars mods are free. And I downloaded all of them, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to break the game, and I didn't, which is amazing. So I have like a half dozen or more Star Wars mods, and the game is not broken yet. There are some other Star Wars games. So I know there's the Vader Immortal game, which I have yet to play. That's on I don't have an Oculus Rift. It's on the Oculus Rift store. So it's kind of like if you have, like I basically have like an Android, and the Oculus Rift is like an iPhone. So I have to go through these hoops to be able to get access to that game, and I haven't really sat down to do it yet. But that's probably, I think it's only $10, so I have no excuse anymore to not play that. So I really need to play that here soon.
I've heard good things about the Vader game.
Yeah, that one is that was made by the guys at Lucasfilm, right? So that one's actually Star Wars licensed.
That's an official canon game.
Yeah, actually, part of that game explains part of Rise of Skywalker, why the first planet Mustafar in Rise of Skywalker looks the way it does.
Yeah, I'm curious. That always, when I saw that movie, I was like no, nobody I knew that it was Mustafar until we saw it like a second time. We were like, is that Mustafar? And I don't think it was confirmed until the visual dictionary came out, and they were like, okay, that was Mustafar. Why were there trees?
Once upon a time on Mustafar.
Yeah. I guess they grow really fast.
If you want to know more, play the game. That's all I know is that part of the story of that game explains that.
And they've got some other ones. I was looking into it. Another one kind of like Blade and Sorcery, I guess you can mod. Is it Robo Recall? Have you heard of that? You ever played that? I was looking up different videos on YouTube. That was one. And then they had some more of the Lucasfilm made ones like the Trials on Tatooine, which I think you're trying to get off of Tatooine, I think, on a spaceship or something like that. And then there's like a droid repair bay. You ever heard of that one?
The only one that I know of that's official is there was I think it was with Battlefront 2, there was like an X-Wing mission that launched with the PlayStation. So PlayStation can have the PlayStation VR, which is pretty cool because you don't need a gaming PC to do it. And so I know that was available on launch, but I don't have a PlayStation, so I haven't played it.
There's also you've heard of the Void experiences?
Yeah, where they've got you're wearing a full suit and there's like 4 of you. You go through like an actual. You're not just in one room. You're going through like a series of rooms and hallways, and there's things you can touch. And
is this like an escape room kind of thing?
It's another Lucasfilm official, but Void came to Lucasfilm while they were doing the Vader Immortal, and they were like, "Hey, let's try to do an experience where we can run around with the Void." And they stopped working on the Vader, which apparently at the time I watched the video on Tested. I think they did an interview with the guys at Lucasfilm, and while they were working on it, they got Void got in contact with them, and they decided after their original plans to just have a experience where you kind of watch Darth Vader and see what's going on. After they did the whole Void thing, they realized we should make this more, more interactive for people and stuff. And so they turned the Vader VR game into what it is now, based off of this Void experience, which is called Secrets of the Empire.
I've heard of that.
That looks like a lot of fun.
Is that do you do that at like Disney World or something? Wherever
they have these Void locations. It's called that's the company. Yeah, it's like
there's one near Disney.
Okay. I know people have talked about that in some of our 501st groups. They've talked about some costumes from that they wanted to do.
But yeah, that's another VR one. But I dove into it a little bit and tried to find some stuff. Didn't know if you had heard of any or tried out any of those yet.
Yeah,
but we'll have to.
I mean, like if you think about it, VR is such a it would be such a cool thing for them to really kind of dive into. Like if they did a game at the scale of Battlefront in VR, I mean, like actually wielding a lightsaber in your hand is. I mean, you can play Battlefront, you can, get your points and play Luke, and, that's fun and all, but, like, actually having a lightsaber in your hand and swinging, that's, like, orders of magnitude more fun than, playing in any game that we can today.
You're a Star Wars.
Yeah, you're literally in the Star Wars.
Well, I guess that about does it for the VR. But we will look into some more of these games and stuff. We'll talk about them some more. Because I feel like that's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if I get me another computer or if I get me a game system. But, man, I really want some type of VR.
Yeah.
Something.
It'd be cool to like stream to video record like the stuff that's going on, because I mean you can't really show it. You can show pictures and all that, but you kind of have to record, and you have to have a pretty powerful PC, I believe, to be able to screen record stuff or stream or whatever. So yeah, it probably won't be happening anytime soon.
Maybe in the future. We'll see.
Yeah.
So Disney has got a few announcements. One, Paul, you shared with us, is The Mandalorian Season 3 is in the works. They finished up, I guess, post-production and stuff right beginning of March, right before the quarantine.
They finished filming before the quarantine.
For
Season
Season 3?
Just the filming.
Season 2.
No, for Season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, they finished filming, but actually the way they film it, the post-production might not take that long because of the weird magic screen that they film everything in front of.
Oh, right. They actually have it up in the background while they film, right? It's not put in post.
Well, I think they still tweak it in post to make everything, but yeah, a lot of the heavy lifting is done by that screen. So it's just like, yeah, we're just 4 dudes standing on a soundstage, but there's the screen, and all of a sudden we're outside.
That's just crazy how like you can't tell. Like, I mean, if you or I were able, if we were recording in front of a screen, you can put whatever you want on that screen, but it's a screen. It's a screen. So I don't understand how they can make it. I don't know if it's maybe they're like 8,000K where the pixels are super clustered.
That's more dollars than we do.
Yeah, that's true.
That might be it.
Yeah, they're not waiting on Trump cash to buy a new one.
Yeah. Yes, their Trump bucks have already been spent long ago.
So they were talking about Season 3 is actually now being written.
Yeah.
Filoni's already writing this past week or whenever they released. Filoni
and Favreau are working on it.
I thought that Filoni was just there as kind of the dude with the hat, just chilling and be like, it looks cool. Is he actually doing stuff?
He directed
I thought he was
2 episodes of the first season. He had a hand in some of the writing. He was Favreau would write something and kind of bounce an idea off of him and be like, does this make sense? He was kind of the, not necessarily the go-between, but he was kind of the Star Wars guru.
He's like George Lucas now that George Lucas is gone.
That's what a lot of people are calling or saying.
He's George Lucas too.
He's the second coming of George Lucas.
The Attack of the Clone.
He spent 10 years working with George Lucas, and George Lucas was like, I'm going to teach these group people how to make Star Wars. He spent 10 years teaching people how to do Star Wars because he's like, I'm not going to do this forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got to be in your soul.
Yep.
Also, there's a couple other interesting series coming out. They've got a new show called Prop Culture. Did you guys get a chance to look into that? It's going to be like an 8 episode series where they kind of go through and check out different props from movies. I guess Disney, Star Wars, anything related like that. But from the looks of the trailer, it looked really awesome. Something to look forward to.
Is that on Disney Plus?
Yeah, Disney Plus. Yep.
Nice.
And then also for Disney Plus on May the 4th, they're releasing a new, what is it? Star Wars Gallery, which is
a behind-the-scenes show on The Mandalorian.
Yep.
It's 8 episodes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Each covering a different aspect of the making.
That's cool.
That looks cool. And then also that's going to be this May the 4th is going to be the finale for Clone Wars. So
I want to see how they do Baby Yoda.
He's a mixture of puppet and CGI.
Yeah, I
Well,
want to see it.
have you guys? Did you guys get a chance to watch the Dark Crystal series on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
It is so good.
Me and
You
Heather
need to
sat
watch
down.
it.
Me and Heather sat down to watch that movie several months ago. We'd never seen it before.
The
And
movie or the series?
The movie.
The movie is a whole nother thing. The series takes place before the movie, and so when you watch the movie, it's like a nightmare movie. And really, the world of the Dark Crystal is not that can put you off, and even to go back to it, it almost doesn't hold up. But the new stuff that they do, just like with the Baby Yoda, where they have both the puppets and a little bit of CGI, like with blinking and things like that, where they can get a little extra realism and stuff. Man, that show is unbelievable. You guys have to check it out and look at the behind the scenes of that show. It is incredible. It's like the Muppets Game of Thrones of Muppets is what it is. I mean, it is awesome. It is hardcore. Mark Hamill is the voice of the scientist, one of the Skeksis puppets, and he's super evil. They've got a bunch of other really good got actors in the show. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it is so good, so good to look into. Dark Crystal podcast.
All I know is when we tried to watch the movie, we had to turn it off halfway through because it was absolutely nauseating to watch.
Yeah, the way that they film it today, it is just like they did it with the like the techniques and the attitude that Jim Henson did when he did the original film, because this was his first real like not kids movie, his first adventure film, and when it's really, really dark, and like you said, it is a little hard to watch. It's rough, but when you watch this new series, it gives you a whole nother appreciation for what he did back then. And there were he was torn between using like actual people and actors, because he would have scenes where it would be puppet for almost all of it, but then they needed someone to run down a hill, and they got like a person. And when they went back to make this series, they didn't do any of that. They didn't cut any corners. Everything was filmed. The puppets running. It is insane. And watching the behind the scenes of it is just as entertaining.
So Game of Thrones with Muppets. Got it.
That's what I said. It's great. I mean, it's got puppets getting their souls sucked out of them. So, I mean, and they don't come back. You know, it's not like, oh, they're going to come back. No, it's not.
I never knew how much I wanted to watch a puppet die.
Dude. Yeah. And Dark Crystal, the movie, it's amazing. Do you?
He's the puppet guy.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure Frank Oz is part of it too.
Yeah, I'm officially licensed in the squad as a puppet master.
Yeah, he's a puppeteer.
How is that? Where'd you get that title?
Went to school for it. He's more qualified than all of us.
I went to puppet camp for one day.
What? Puppet camp?
When I was like 12, we did like puppets at church, and there was a church in a neighboring town that had puppet camp. So it was just a day, and I went, and it was me and like two other kids learning how to do puppets with like an old lady at a church.
Here's a question though. Was it informative?
Yeah, my arm hurt a lot. I remember that for sure.
It was just like another VR experience.
The one thing I do remember is that when the puppets are talking, you only do every other word. That's all I remember.
It's, you're not supposed to tell your tricks.
Yeah, sorry, that's trade secrets. I guess that's like a magician revealing a secret. But I think my official license to the
Expired.
Puppet Master. Yeah, it's expired, so I can't get back into Puppet Camp unless I re-register.
You are
Evan's gonna be
retired.
Evan's gonna disappear under mysterious circumstances now.
Yeah.
He's giving away secrets of the Puppet Guild.
On the podcast.
In his obituary, he's going to talk about how he let his puppet license expire.
All right, guys. Well, I think that about does it for this week's episode. I hear some strange noises. What's going on?
My chair's squeaking a little bit.
I was going to say, I heard that too. I was like, maybe somebody just stopped feeling.
There it is again. What was that? Is that your?
I think that's
the-
Paul.
It's the arm on my chair squeaks. This is what happens when you buy a chair secondhand.
Yeah, that's
That's
God,
not a chair. That's something else.
That's
If you-
burr.
Yeah,
If you listen really hard, you can hear Chewy snoring.
What was that?
Yeah,
That's
Oh my
Chewy.
God, I give up. All right, guys.
It's got to have something to do with these 20-mile-an-hour winds.
The chair squeaking. It's like I was doing the thing, and you go, "What is that?"
No one wants to believe your nonsense, Paul.
Yeah, I got to see it to believe it.
Yeah, it sounds more digital than that. You've got a digital chair. Oh my God.
No, that's not it. That's not the sound.
Yeah, that's not it.
The sound, it went brrr, like a
I
fart.
heard that too, so it's not me.
It could have been a phone vibrating. It could be my phone vibrating. I don't even know. But
Oh well.
anyways, let's wrap this up, fellas.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys for coming, and thank you everybody for listening. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.